Welcome to Ignite Donuts Podcast, Episode 11. Today I have a really special guest, Megan, our social media manager. Let's talk to her. Today we have a very special guest with us, Megan, social media manager, also my girlfriend, but friends, family, and fools are who you recruit for our new startup. So I think it's fitting that I have my family and friend wrapped up in this whole Ignite Donuts thing. So, Megan, just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little about your role that you have had at Ignite Donuts in the past.
This upcoming fall, I'll be a senior at CMU. I am studying conservation biology with a minor in environmental science.
She studies salamanders. It's very fascinating.
I make friends with animals.
The best kind of friend.
So this past spring semester, was it just spring semester?
Yeah, I think so.
I worked with Ignite Donuts as a social media manager, so I ran the Facebook, I ran Instagram, I ran Twitter, and I just kind of posted, and yeah.
Right, so for that period, from about, the whole spring semester, so that was January to about May, Megan was technically an independent contractor for us doing our social media stuff. So what specifically did you do? Did you make the posts? Did you just post them when you wanted to? Was it a little bit of mix of both? Like, how'd that all work?
A little bit of both. I know for the first few weeks, like there was kind of a grace period where I kind of posted captions and photos that I was kind of told to post, and then as I got more comfortable into the role, I was able to kind of produce these own captions and use pictures and that relate to the captions and just kind of be on top of it and like know when our events were, so knowing when I had to post.
Right. Yeah, totally. And I guess for some context, Ignite back then had like 4 or 5 social media channels, and that's a lot to post on. And so the idea of a social media manager came kind of from the necessity to free up more time for us to do other things, because you could say, oh, you could just post on your own, but it's a lot easier to have someone dedicated to doing it, and coming up with posts is sometimes really difficult. I think you found that. What was that like, trying to post things, especially when sometimes there's not a whole lot to post,
Yeah, I mean, it was always really easy when there was an event going on, because we had Witten making the posters, and it was just really easy to like post 3 or 4 days like on the stories, like, hey, come check this out. And then there'll be some like kind of dead periods, low-key, where you would kind of maybe do like a flashback photo, or like, I know we did a lot with like food cart stuff, so like you'd flash back to the past.
Yeah, I remember when we had that food cart that one time. Hashtag make donuts. But yeah, that's kind of what it turned into sometimes. But that's kind of the nature of the beast, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any like unique experiences you had doing it, or was it all pretty much run of the mill? The job was as advertised.
It was definitely unique, I would say, at times, because like I know with you and Casey, like we always wanted to have a managers meeting.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of like checking in and making sure that the social media was on track and that we were doing what we were supposed to do, and we had followers and likes and comments that we wanted to have. So I think that was kind of relatively unique, and unique because like this is a smaller student-run business, so we had the flexibility to make sure to check in with everybody, and I think that was an important part in the social media process, was just making sure everything is on track and doing good.
Yeah, absolutely. And we still feel, and we're constantly evolving our social media. So this podcast is kind of an extension of that evolution, but we feel at least that social media is a really important tool for a lot of businesses, but not all, but for ours specifically, because we deal with students who are always on social media. So we always felt it was really important to maintain a level of connectedness with the community, and in fact we did get a lot of Facebook messages with people wanting donuts. So in fact, a lot of leads came from the social media, so it paid off directly. And that's not to mention the other benefits of some of the social media. I guess that's where I'm pivoting. Some of the benefits we've gotten from social media was the connections, because we can connect to like CNURC's page and the Middle Michigan Development Corporation. It's a way for our informal network of contacts to kind of be more formal, at least on Facebook. I don't know, you can talk about, I don't know if you want to talk about kind of the strengths and disadvantages of different platforms of social media. Like, I think you agree Facebook is our meat and potatoes of our platform. What's kind of the different, like, if you're going to post something on Instagram versus Facebook, like, what's something different you do about it?
I know more like Facebook is kind of more, I want to say like informative and like the place where a lot of our older followers kind of visit and check in with the business, and then Instagram is definitely like for the campus, like more community type stuff. Generally, I try and keep the captions kind of the same, just so that information goes by. But yeah, definitely, I've noticed that a lot of younger people, college students, were on Instagram more. Like the messaging and the comments and stuff are different on Instagram. They just compared to Facebook, because it was more like family and friends supporting the business on Facebook and commenting, parents, and then on Instagram it was students that I noticed that commented and messaged us. And
yeah, shout out to Casey's mom. She's a great supporter on Facebook.
She's awesome.
For Ignite Donuts. So, and I think that's a cool thing. It's an advantage for any business to have multiple social media platforms. Is that different ones target different demographics, and the different strengths of the businesses perhaps can be played out in those two. Like Instagram is better for pictures, I would say, in general. And that's an area we're kind of weak, but improving is our food photography. And so the better food you get, the more likes you get.
And Facebook's good for articles. Like when you guys have been featured in news articles and video articles, and it's way easier to post that on Facebook.
Yeah, check out our Facebook if you want to see what we've been featured in the news. So that actually brings me to the final kind of point I want to talk about, which is something we've actually been experimenting with and learning with our social media strategy at Ignite Donuts, is the difference between like advertising and just straight content. So a lot of times I think this past semester, even when you were posting, I think we were finding that our content was too advertising heavy.
Yeah.
So we were always like, hey, go check the donut out at the market, go buy the donut at the market, go buy. And that's like pretty much what we would post all the time. And I think we discovered that people start to get a little numb. Like, if it's it's what it is ask. So me and Casey have kind of been reevaluating the strategy a little bit, which is, hey, you want to give, ask. And so the idea is that you want to give content, which is actually like good content that people actually enjoy looking at or viewing or listening to in the case of podcasts. And then once you kind of get their attention and their follow of you, then you can ask and be like, hey, by the way, we sell donuts too. So that's an interesting thing, and that's really what we're learning too. Is it's really easy on social media. I think just be like, hey, we exist. Go buy our donuts. Go buy our donuts. Go buy our donuts. Go buy our donuts. And that can be detrimental because people just be like, well, you're selling us to go buy the donuts again. Like, it's not exciting. So this is an experiment too. I think anyone who's listening to this podcast is part of an experiment here at Ignite Donuts, figuring out this whole content thing. Because on the surface, this podcast doesn't sell donuts, right? There's no transaction going on. This is just something we're producing, and hopefully, viewers, listeners, get value out of this, and so that will strengthen the brand, strengthen the community, and that's what we really want to do. Which will then hopefully, if you're looking at the entrepreneurial side, lead into more sales. So I wanted to share that unique thing that we're changing specifically about our social media at Ignite Donuts. You might notice that too. We have a baking show now that doesn't necessarily drive sales because we don't sell the donuts that we're featuring on the baking show. It's just a unique thing that people can share. And so finally, I just kind of want to broaden it out to you as a social media user and a social media manager. What do you think social media is going in the future? How do you think companies are going to use it? How do you think it's going to change?
It's a good question. I don't know if necessarily the fundamentals of it are gonna change much. I think it's always gonna be kind of what it is. That makes sense. It's
Mhm.
always gonna be a platform for like news, advertisement. Especially I know like companies spend lots of money in advertisement and stuff, and I don't think that that's gonna change much. Yeah, maybe for like Ignite Donuts and like specifically, I think going forward the social media is gonna grow as the company grows and evolves. I think it's
Mhm.
got a lot of potential still, and there's still a few hiccups and kinks that we have to work out.
Right.
But his with all business.
Yeah,
right?
it's fine. No, yeah, well, you're right. And we already have a TikTok now,
Mhm.
which I don't have a TikTok, but Ignite Donuts does. You should follow it. No, it's not. We're delivering content here, not an ad. So, no, I think you're right. And I think the final thing I want to end on is I think even TikTok, I think social media is a great customer retention tool.
Yeah.
So, it's one of the best ones aside from like email lists, which people actually use email lists still, surprisingly. But anyway, the point is social media is not only a way to capture your potential customers or your audience or your customer base or your community, it's a way to retain them and keep them informed. And I think that's important for a lot of small businesses is information, and especially in the era of COVID-19 and whatever else is happening in 2020, information is really key.
So many things are changing.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I think I said that in an episode about a website of the podcast. If you don't have a website, at least have Facebook, but a website helps. Anyway, Megan, thanks for talking to me. It's been great having you social media manager, and you're a pretty good girlfriend too. So.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks. Go check out ignitedonuts.com. You can find more information about this podcast and about the company if you're interested. And yeah, follow us on the various social media platforms, and I guess join our growing TikTok fan base. Thanks.